Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of the All Sports Podcast with BTHK and Dossa as well. Big weekend of football, lots to discuss tonight, and a huge show. And just as always, I don't really have to keep doing this, but I guess I have to with these little numbnuts I've got to talk to every Monday with. First and foremost, welcome aboard, Harry Keeling. You're on my screen first, so I'll say hello to you first. How you going, mate?
Good, Blakey. How are you, mate? How you going?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Nice little weekend, and we'll touch on a bit about that later. But also, as well, Kane and Mackie, welcome aboard again, mate, for another podcast edition. You cancelled again your Tinder dates and all that for yourself on a Monday, so must be pretty happy about that.
Yeah, mixed emotions. No, only joking. Love the podcast, mate. So, as I said, it's my favourite time of the week. So we're back again. Can't wait to talk some shit and listen to you dribble. So, how was your weekend, though, mate? Good. Usually you ask us how ours is, so we'll ask you first how yours was. Good.
Yeah, it was a good weekend. Watched the 19s play against Croydon. Came from behind. We were down by 4 goals at quarter time, so a little bit of a scare there. But the boys, 19s, they came back and won. And I took the drive up to Ball on the weekend for the Eastland back to the round, they call it. So it was good there. Ball had a good win, showcased why they are the top dog. So, and then followed by a bit of ACDC. So very good there down at the home of footy, the Tros. So it was a good week, good there. And then we went back to the world famous Dirty Dorset, which is incredible. We love that place. And yeah, it was a pretty good time there.
Thanks for getting me let in, mate. I really appreciate that.
Well, just to let you know, viewers, Caden did bring me at about 4 o'clock in the morning saying to get into the Dorset, but I believe you brought a club jumper in. Is that correct?
No, I did not bring a club jumper in. My shirt that I was wearing was just a little bit dirty. You could say. Yeah, it had a few drinks on it. So old mate security guard that we know quite well, Blakey, didn't want to bar me, so didn't let me in. So I said, you can get fucked then, mate. So yeah.
Anyway, so you two were with each other the whole weekend. I'm sure you guys would have held your hands during that time too, and would have gave a few kisses on the lips. How was your weekend, boys? One by one.
One by what?
So you can see what he remembers of the night, and then I'll give you what I remember of the night.
What'd you say then, Blake? We were one by what?
No, one by one. Both of you just go on.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said we won by one. Nah. No, it was a good weekend, mate. Mooroolbark played Mitcham, so unfortunately myself and Harry both weren't playing, so we were on the sidelines. But the boys had a good win, which was good. So we don't lose on function nights. So yeah, we then went back to the club and had a function. Tunes at the stable.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, can't recall a whole heap of the night, but the Uzos were going down a treat. So yeah, no, it was a good night from what I can remember.
And you, Hazard?
Yeah, same thing as Caden. Watched Mooroolbark get a good win over Mitcham, which always helps. And yeah, off to Tunes at the stable, which I remember patches of, and had to go to work at 7 o'clock in the morning, still pissed. So that's pretty fun when you're spewing at work.
Yeah, it's all right, mate. That's okay. But more importantly, I heard about your bench though down at Mooroolbark. I know there is some people that don't understand this, but if they do listen, but I heard there was a thing on your bench at the last quarter. I think it was yourself, Caden, Little Jai Peacock, Kane Newton, and Riley Moncourse. So that's a big that's a few stars on that bench in the last quarter to finish the game off. So credit to you guys. You proved a lot of people wrong. Most people thought that it would just be a walk in the park down at Walker Park. But I don't think it was. So
No.
one on, boys. Good win. But yeah, we focus on this week, ladies and gentlemen, and it's the garage match they call it between Montrose and Mooroolbark. Myself and down at the home of footy this week. So not down to your shithole. Anyway, we move on from that. And big game, boys. Hey, Harry, are you going to be putting on the boots or are you going to not play, mate? So what's the go there?
I will not be playing this week. I've been ruled out for the season, so you won't see me. You'll see me on the sidelines chatting with Blakey the whole day.
No, mate, I'll be up on the balcony abusing you all. So
Yeah,
anyway, what do
you can pick on that fuckwit that does the running from Moorabach wearing the pink shirt. He's a bit of a wanker, that guy. So talk some
Oh,
shit to him.
I heard you a little bit of KC time. That photo it's on the Facebook. That's going to go on the podcast there. But
Yeah, mate. Right arm over, fins up.
chew.
Phew.
So are you excited, mate? Big. It's always a big game. Doesn't matter where both sides are on the ladder. It's just a good contest of local footy, Kane. You must be pretty excited about that.
Yeah, mate. It's always a good game. I think you guys probably got a bit more to play for than us. Obviously, make playing finals the week after and our season done. But I don't think it'll matter. I think both teams will have a real good crack and try to get the wood over the rivals. But looking forward to it. Probably more looking forward to having a few beers after the game up in the room. So
Yeah.
yeah, might have to get some footage for the fans to see what state Blake Tennant's in after the game. But I bet you he'll be in Gary Ayer's pocket or something.
Got any
And
predictions for us, boys? What do you reckon the score is going to be?
Oh,
well, it's at the home of footy, so oh, I reckon 81-50. Just
Which way?
who do you think, mate? The red or the blue, mate? Montrose. 81-50, I reckon.
What happened last time we played at the home of footy, as you call it? Do you remember?
Well, we did have a back line that game, so that's why you guys went right. But it wasn't a great game because I remember last time they played, it was 36-0, and I got there 10 minutes into the first quarter. So I was a bit late that day, but thank God I was a bit late. I shouldn't have rocked up, but had to
should
support the boys and
have stayed home, mate.
yeah, should have. Yeah. But yeah. Um, so that's a big game. Make sure to get down. Montrose Recreation Reserve. There could be a little special appearance in the 19s. I don't know
Bubba.
who that player is, but he could be coming back
Jesus.
for a big game. So yeah, we'll see how we go on Thursday night. That player, I don't know who that is, but he might be that person talking right now. But anyway,
Can't wait to say g'day to three-time Norm Sniff medalist Gary Ayres and have a beer with him on Saturday night. Looking
yeah,
forward
I'm
to it.
sure he would love to have a beer with you, Caden, and
Yep.
yourself, Harry. I'm sure
Norm
he would love
Sniff
to.
medalist, Gaza. So yeah.
You get that off Riley Spicer. Is he still champing your ear off? Anyway, we're going to hand it over to you, Dossa, for the AFL. Big weekend of footy.
Huge weekend of footy, mate. So we'll get started. Footy. All right, round 21 review. We'll start with Friday night. The Doggies took on Richmond at Marvel Stadium, which saw the Doggies win by 55 points. Blakey, were you there, mate?
Yes, I was there, mate. Pretty embarrassing. But yeah, I think the finals is officially over.
Yeah, tough run home for the Tigers, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we got St Kilda this week. I'll be pretty confident though heading into the game. St Kilda were pretty shabby. Sorry to do it, but it also is again the podcast cup between myself and Harry this week, which we will touch on it in a bit later. But yeah, it wasn't great. I just don't know what's wrong with Marvel Stadium. To be fair, who plays under a roof for starters anyway? So yeah.
No, we got a punishment for the losing team this week. In the Harry and Blakey's team rivalry. So the loser will have to do a punishment. Might put it out to the fans, see what that punishment will be.
Well, are we doing a punishment for Mirrabbuck Montrose this week?
Don't know. If it
It'd be
involves
decided, I
me
think.
wearing a Montrose scarf or beanie, you can shove it up your ass because I'm not doing that. We'll just go. I'll buy if Mirrabbuck lose. I'll buy you a couple of beers after the game.
Oh, there you go, done. Anyway,
and
moving
vice
along
versa. Yeah, moving along. Adelaide, Saturday afternoon, Adelaide played Gold Coast. Adelaide 28-point winners, keeping their finals hopes alive. Geez, this could have been an absolute disaster for the Bombers. They were 1-point victorious over the Eagles. Pretty embarrassing there. Cole
Very
Langford
embarrassing.
with another 5 goals. Another pretty embarrassing performance was from my Pies and Blakey's Ruffy. The Hawkers beating Collingwood. Blakey,
Oh,
fucking hell,
mate.
2 weeks in a row, mate.
2 weeks in a row. Jesus. I did think that would happen. And when I was driving home from bowling, I'm like, fuck, yeah, these Hawks are for real. But it just, well, I don't know if many of you boys or listeners listen on to the press conferences. I do. I'm a bit of a footy nuffy myself, a nerd. Um, but what you call, Craig McRae actually did say that they exposed him with the great Nick Dacos, which you'll touch on after this. We won't until we'll wait a bit. But Finn McGuinness, hats off to him, I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon he's
From him.
the best tagger in the comp now.
Yeah, he has to be. Yep.
But he's did a fantastic job. Collingwood were pretty poor, so they'll be looking to bounce back next week. Saturday night saw the Cats beat the Power down at GMHBA Stadium by 12 points. Good win by the Catters, keeping their finals hopes alive. And then we went over to Sydney Saturday night. GWS took on the Swans, and the Swannies coming away 11-point winners. Sydney are a bit of a dark horse, I reckon, lads. They're coming, and I reckon Earl Goulden is probably the most underrated player in the comp, and he'll have an all-Australian blazer around him this year. Thoughts on that?
I agree with that. I agree.
There's no way around it. He has to have an All-Australian blazer. It's got to be him on the wing. There's no one else that can compete with him on the wing.
No,
And
you're right.
I'll touch on this subject as well. But do you reckon if Errol Gordon was in Victoria, he'll get more hyped than what he is at Sydney?
Height or hype?
Hyped. That's the word. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe. He's probably enjoying it though. Not much talk going around about him. Doesn't feel as much pressure. I feel like because he's still so young, all the young players in the comp, once the heat goes on them, there's more talk about them. They seem to drop off a bit. Like we've seen Dacos drop off probably the last 5 or 6 weeks when there's been heaps of talk around him already winning the Brownlow. So, but Gooden, I think he had 32 and 2 again. So, he's got to be one of the most underrated players in the comp, and he's had a fantastic season.
Indeed.
Sunday afternoon down at Tassie, North Melbourne and Melbourne. Melbourne winners by 32 points. Wasn't looking too good for Melbourne early. I think North were out to about a 30-point lead at one stage there.
I think it was.
Hey?
I think it was about 27-ish around there.
Yeah, around 27. I think Eddie Ford kicked 3 goals in the first quarter. So it was a good effort by the Kangas, but Melbourne too strong. But an injury to our man, Harrison Petty, which is going to be a big talking point. Not too sure if it's come out how long he's out for yet or the diagnosis of the injury, but it looked like a lower leg type injury. So you'd expect him to miss 2 or 3 weeks, I'd say. Sunday afternoon, saw the Blues storm home to beat St Kilda by 19 points. Harry, won't touch too much on it, mate. I'm pretty sure you're a bit disappointed by that.
Fucking embarrassing, seriously. It's got 10 points after half. Seriously. Like, that's fucked.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Just the usual St Kilda, mate. Just
low scores.
Low scores every week. They can't score. They're very good defensive side, but they just can't score at the moment.
You're not wrong, Blakey. You're not wrong at all. But hopefully we get over the on-mob next week and say something else about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carlton, another win. I think they jumped up to 5th on the ladder, so you'd think they'll play finals this year, which is pretty shit because I fucking hate them. Talking point, Charlie Curnow again. A couple of free kicks that other key forwards probably wouldn't get. He's probably the most protected player in the comp. But Callum Wilkie did a good job of him, only keeping him to 1 goal. So good work, Callum Wilkie.
Do we think Tex is going to catch him?
I hope Tex catches him because I couldn't stand seeing that fucking ugly cunt's head on a fucking Coleman. So,
25 behind. He's got what's his name? West Coast to go.
Yeah,
he might get it, especially last game. If they can't make finals, they're just going to feed him. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, you'd think so.
I didn't pay attention to their game against Gold Coast, but how many did he kick?
2.
Okay, so that's
2
a
goals,
game.
1, I think it was, but
Was.
Yeah,
Sam Collins did a pretty good job on him.
yeah.
Last game of round 21 was Fremantle versus Brisbane at Optus Stadium. Thought Freo were going to snag this. Tuned in on me Sunday afternoon at 4:40, Blakey, like you usually do, mate.
Oh, and love that time slot.
On the couch, having a few beers, watched this
Wouldn't you?
game, and yeah, Brisbane looked pretty shaky. Not going to lie, so I'm not too sold on them for premierships, but they're, as we know, they're a dominant side at the Gabba. So if they get a home final at the Gabba, you'd reckon they'd win.
Yeah, back that. Yep.
Anything else for round 21 there, boys? Or
I just thought the Tigers were disappointing. I have to say that. That's probably the big one. Probably another one that was disappointing again. I know we keep harping on it. Was probably St Kilda, but North Melbourne, like they had a team on the ropes early on, and they just couldn't put them away. So, but Port Adelaide, I think we've got to put a bit of pressure on them. That's 4 losses in a row. So I think we've got to put a bit of pressure. So
got GWS this week as well, so that's not going to be an easy game.
no, it's not. Is it over there or at
It's at Adelaide Oval. Adelaide Oval. Just looking at the ladder, you'd think the top 4 is pretty sewn up.
Yeah.
Then Carlton, Bulldogs, St Kilda, GWS, Geelong, Sydney, Adelaide, Essendon, maybe Richmond still have a chance of making it. So
yeah,
it's going to be bloody close. So looking forward to that.
You know what I liked about? Sorry, I know you will touch on it later, but the round 24 fixture is very funny because they put the Carlton GWS game at 6:10 so that clubs can't see, like if they are going to make finals or not.
I love how you said you're going to touch on it. Then you just bloody told us what the fixture was.
Yeah.
Just spill the beans, mate. That's all right.
I just want to say as well, lads, I did say 2 weeks ago that Hawthorn were closer to a premiership than Richmond, and they may have just showed a little bit of the reason why they're on the weekend.
Come on, Harry. I don't want to harp on about that. It's just not going to happen. Like who's their A graders? Moving on, please.
No, they had They actually do have a couple of really good players, but I just don't know whether I think Richmond will still be in premiership contention next year.
Lynch is the key. That's all.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I think Noah Bolter's going to have an All-Australian blazer this year. He's been fantastic for you guys.
Yeah, I just don't know. I think there's better players than him, to be honest. So
not as the first key, but maybe second or third key defender in the back line. You'd think with Darcy Moore and maybe Harris Andrews or Jacob Wiedering.
Yeah.
Callum Wilkie could even be thrown into that conversation as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll move on to round 22. Starts Friday night. Collingwood versus the Cats at the G. Collingwood need a response, so it'd be interesting to see whether they do or not.
You head into that, Dossa?
Nah, I've got me Nan's birthday, so I'll probably be at the pub somewhere, I'd imagine.
Getting smashed as usual. We love it. I'm tipping Geelong here, though. I reckon Geelong again get the winner over the Pies here.
Yeah.
Same here, I reckon.
I don't think convincingly, though. I can't see them blowing them out of the water, but I can't see it. Can't see the Pies winning this one.
It depends if Hawkins plays. If Hawkins plays, it gives Geelong a real chance, but
I'd agree with that.
I'm not too sure if he's going to play or not. But next game, Saturday afternoon, is North Melbourne versus Essendon. I was going to say maybe Essendon walk this game over, but considering their performance last week against West Coast, it's game on, I reckon.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think Langford's saving their arse the last few weeks. He's come from nowhere and he's into the top 4 or 5 in goal kicking, isn't he now? Or moving up to that
he's
spot.
up there.
So I reckon Essendon get it, but I reckon they need to start firing if they want to play final footy.
Funny thing about Cole Langford is they trialled him off the half-back flank in the pre-season, so that definitely aged well.
Has aged very well.
It's like Essendon every year. It's always next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next game, Sydney versus Gold Coast at the SCG. I think Sydney will know the importance of this game and they'll be too strong.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Great.
Next game, Brisbane versus Adelaide at the Gabba. Same sort of story. I reckon Brisbane will be too strong there at the Gabba.
Yeah.
I reckon Brisbane, but I don't think it's going to be a big margin. They just haven't shown enough the last few weeks.
Yeah, they're a bit iffy, but at the Gabba, they're a completely different side. So
They don't lose at the Gabba.
no. Saturday night, probably the game of the round, Carlton versus Melbourne at the G. Expect a massive crowd at that game.
Melbourne.
Yeah, Melbourne for me.
I'm going with Carlton. Whole family's Carlton. So
Fucking love Carlton. Makes
I
me
do.
sick.
I told my sister Bella that I'd give her a shout out on the podcast. She's a listener, so I said I'd go for Carlton with her 1 week.
Good on her. Good on her. Saturday night is the derby between the Eagles and the Dockers. I think the Dockers will be too strong.
Yeah, I agree. Doc is too strong.
Waiting for Blakey to say West Coast, but
Yeah, sorry, Dockers. Yep.
Can't wait to see his roughy this week. See if we can go 3 for 3.
Yeah.
yeah,
We'll see what it is, boys. You'll see.
you'll see. Yep.
I'm excited.
Hawthorn versus the Bulldogs at Tassie on Sunday. Hawthorn do play well down there, so I wouldn't be surprised if Hawthorn got up.
Yeah. Bulldogs, I reckon.
As well.
As Blakey said before, St Kilda versus Richmond at Marvel.
Tiggs.
St Kilda.
I think St Kilda for me as well, yeah. And then Port Adelaide versus GWS at Adelaide Oval at 4:40 on Sunday. That'll be a good game.
That would be a good game. I don't understand how it's not on a Saturday night instead of the Derby. I think the Derby should switch over, I reckon.
I'm going the Pawn. They're not going to lose.
Yeah, I think Port are going to fire back up and win. So
yeah, agreed.
That's our round 22 preview done. So we'll move into some footy news. There's been a little bit of footy talk in the media lately. Obviously, the injury to Nick Dacos is a big talking point. The AFL round 24 fixture's been released. Do you want to touch on that quickly, boys?
Yeah, Blake knows a fair bit about it. He's already decided to talk about half of it already. So
yeah. So do you want me to read through all the games and then we'll have a discussion, or?
Yeah, go on, read through them all.
All right. So Friday night, Essendon versus Collingwood at the G.
Big game.
Saturday afternoon, Hawthorn versus Freo at the G. North versus Gold Coast at Tassie. Brisbane versus St Kilda at the Gabba. Saturday night, Geelong versus the Bulldogs at GMHBA. And then West Coast versus Adelaide at Optus Stadium. And then on a Sunday at 12:30, Richmond versus Port Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. And then Sunday afternoon at 3:20, Sydney versus Melbourne. And then, as you said before, Blakey, Carlton versus GWS at 6:10 at Marvel. It's an interesting time slot, but as Blakey touched on before, it's obviously so teams can see whether they made it or not, Blakey.
Which I think is totally fair, to be fair, though. Because we all saw last year, but obviously the result didn't go Carlton's way. But let's just say, right, if it wasn't a close game, right, and Collingwood were up by, 40 points, all right, and they saw that score, they would just give up because they know that the game's over. So I was pretty wrapped with how the AFL did that game at 6:10, to be honest.
Big fan of it, are you, mate?
Very big fan of what the AFL did there because it just ruins the game. I hated it last year because I went to the Carlton Collingwood game last year, round 23, and they were just showing the scores every 5 minutes. I'm like, mate, it's just ruining the game. It's just
of what of the other game or
the Hawthorn Bulldogs game. They were just showing replays and scores and how long's left, and I'm like, that's not what you want. You want to know after the game to see who you're playing against because sides can see that. Sides can see that, and they might not, play footy where they know to be because they know that they've already guaranteed a final spot. So, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I suppose, but it was pretty exciting for the crowd, the fans watching at home and stuff. But
that game was an absolute ripper, though, I have to say.
Yeah,
that was
probably understand for the the players and stuff probably getting a bit caught up in worrying about that rather than finishing the game off. Yeah, so that's round 24 fixture drop. We got a little bit of other footy news, a couple of retirements during the week.
Yeah, I think Shannon Hurd retired, so that's a big one.
Yeah. And Jack Siebel, Aaron Hall.
Yeah.
I got
Aaron Hall I was a bit shocked about.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a bit angry about that. I reckon Aaron Hall is a great player, and I reckon North Melbourne have just treated him poorly, and it's a wasted career for me. You look at when he went up to the Gold Coast, I think he was winning the Brownlow at one point, and he's come back to North, and he's been dropped after having like 30-something touches. Like, you're fucking second bottom of the ladder, and you're dropping a bloke having 30, and you're keeping blokes in the side that have been having fucking 10 and 15. Like, I think he holds the record for the most meters gained in a game.
Yeah, he does. How old is he?
I think he's 32.
Yeah,
So he's still
probably got 2 or 3 years of good footy left in him.
But I just think that his drive off half back is something North Melbourne could use.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, he's just got that X factor about him.
Like, you're playing Zeeble across the half back line, probably grandma could run faster than him. Like, no offense, but
And play footy though.
Yeah. So that was the retirements. There wasn't any more, was there?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. There's just the buddy one we've already touched on last week. That's all so far, really.
Back to the Aaron Hall retirement. The thing that I found really interesting is that he retired effectively immediately.
I found that one interesting as well.
North Melbourne's VFL side are going pretty well, so they're still in contention to make finals. So I reckon there's something brewing in the water down there at North. Because I thought he would have just played the season out, but yeah.
Yeah.
What are you saying, Harry? Sorry.
I said there's a reason they're at the bottom of the ladder. There's always stuff going on behind the scenes. It's problem areas.
Yeah.
A bit of off-field problems, I think.
Yes, we saw that with Horn Francis wanting to leave as well. I think there's a bit more happening than what people know of.
Can I quickly just touch on the VFL?
Go for it.
It's good to see a standalone club in Werribee on top of the ladder.
Yes, I actually saw that. I actually did see that on the weekend. Because obviously there's a few, Eastern boys play VFL footy, of course. But yeah, I actually did see that. That's very good. And speaking of that, the VFL actually did announce their finals fixture for VFL. And they said that if it's an all Brisbane final, it'll be played at I think Southport Oval or Springfield Park. I think that's what it's called. And then if it's any Victorian club, it'll be played at Icon Park. So
good ground
I love playing. Well, I've never played there, but I've stepped foot on that ground. But I know you guys have. Unfortunately, you guys lost in that final, Harry. But
way to rub some, Blakey. Thanks, mate.
Yeah, a bit like last year as well. But yeah.
Jesus, mate. At least we made the final, I guess.
Yeah, that's it. Well, moving on, Caden.
Yeah, just one more thing to touch on AFL news. Not too sure whether you boys saw it or not, but during the week, the AFL released AFLW Fantasy. So I signed up, jumped on, and created my team. So I'm just putting the question to you boys whether you'd be keen to do it or not.
I'll be down to do it. I did get a little bit into it last year because it's on a good time. It's on when the footy finals are on, so there's not a whole heap of footy. You want to watch something.
Yeah, I agree.
So I was into it a little bit last year. Got a little bit angry at umpires, so that means I'm into the game at least. Yeah,
that's it. Blakey, you probably don't know any of the players anyway, mate, do you?
There's a few Eastern girls.
Could you name 5 AFLW players?
I reckon I could, yep.
Off you go.
Monique Conti.
That's one.
Number 1. Taylor Harris.
Yep, 2.
Libby Birch.
Yep, 3.
One of my good friends, Georgia Campbell. If she's listening on, there you go.
Yep.
Son of the gunner, Adrian Campbell too. Sorry, daughter Thought of a go. Sorry there.
Jeez, you're on fire today, Blakey.
Fucking hell.
You're struggling to name 4 AFLW players. You're really digging yourself a hole here.
I don't know if you could though, mate.
Oh,
Yeah, go on, Harry. I want to see you. Have a crack, mate. Come on.
You want me to have a crack?
Yeah, go on.
All right, we got Tani Brown, who's one of my mate's girlfriends, so I don't know if that counts.
Yeah, it counts.
Mark Mazza.
Mark Mazzarotti, yeah. You got, what's her name? Alyssa Pisano. Don't know how to say it.
No, she'll be next year, mate. Come
Oh,
on,
I
mate.
don't know, mate. It's all the same thing. I don't actually know the names, just know the numbers.
Oh, he's poor, Harry.
Kid's ass, mate. That's
I don't
pathetic.
even know the AFL names, so.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. I've had enough of that.
All right. He's had enough. Only
Caden,
name.
can you name 4?
Easy, mate.
All right, give
Do you
it
want me
to
to
us.
do it?
Yeah, go on.
All right. So Ruby Slasher,
Team.
Collingwood.
Yeah.
We got Orlo O'Dwyer from Brisbane. Georgie Prasparkas from Geelong. We got Caitlin Ashmore from Hawthorn. And then we'll go. What team do you want me to give it to you from?
Oh, I don't care any.
Give us a St Kilda one, go on.
St Kilda one would be Tani White.
Fair
So
enough.
there you go. 5.
Or,
Pardon?
is that the one you hooked up with, or?
Keep it. Nah. Nah, mate, no comment. Anyway, moving on. We got the All Sports Round 21 Team of the Week. So keep an eye out on the socials. This will be posted when the episode is released. If Blakey pulls his fucking finger out of his asshole and does some work on the Instagram page.
Well, I actually work on like you lazy piece of shit.
Seems though you forgot the fucking password to the account. Dumb fuck. From the back line after his dominant performance, James Sicily. And this bloke, first game on the weekend of AFL, and I reckon he played some fucking good footy. James Borlass from Adelaide, fullback. Hayden Young in the back pocket, across the half back line. Nick Newman, Harry's Callum Wilkie, Mitchell Hines. Wingman, our man, Earl Goulden. Tom Green from GWS, and one of Harry's Saints boys, Mason Wood, played fucking good. Half forwards, Chad Wingard, Darcy Fogarty, Cam Rayner. Forward pocket, Cozzy Pickett. Full forward, my man, who will kick 100 next year, Jamara Ugle-Hagan. And in the other pocket, Kyle Langford. The followers, we got big Luke Jackson, probably the best player in the comp at the moment, Marcus Bontempelli and Caleb Sarong. A few Freo boys in there. On the interchange bench, Tom Liberatore, Hayden McLean from Sydney, Jack Zeeble had a good game, and Finn McGuinness after his great job on Nick Dacos. And the sub, Mummy's boy, don't know if he's still homesick or not because he's a fucking cockhead, but anyway, sub is Ollie Henry.
Oh, jeez, that'll be a big game next week.
There you go. That's our round 21 team of the week. So, and that's all the talk for AFL, I think. Anything else to add in, lads?
Well, I think you've set it up really well there. But the thing is, Ollie Henry's Collingwood's leading goal kicker at the moment. If you touched on about it last year, so that's a bit of a worry for the Pies, I reckon. There, getting rid of Ollie Henry.
He's not leading goal kicker.
Yeah, well, if he was playing for Collingwood this year, he'll be leading your goal kicking with this year.
Is that true?
Yeah, look, he's.
I think it is true. No. Oh, yes, he would be, actually.
Yeah, if he was playing for Collingwood, he would be leading. He's kicked 34 goals, right?
Fucking all cheap ones out the back, though.
And then Collingwood's is Bobby Hill with 23. So there you go.
How many's Myercheck kicked? He would have kicked more than that.
That's got to be fucking wrong.
Brody Myercheck's kicked 34, you fucking idiot.
Oh, sorry, mate. Jeez, sit it down, mate.
So he's equal with Ollie Henry, so I'll give you that.
So there you go.
And Jamie Elliott's kicked 31, so you've missed a couple of boys there, mate.
Yeah, anyway. All right, moving on. Local footy time on one of my favourite bits of the podcast. So, of course, we go from Premier right to
What league we
We,
doing though, Jake Blakey, to let the
I
fans
think we're
know?
going to do the Eastern Footy League.
Righto.
Yeah, I think more people will tune in. I think it is one of the greatest leagues in Victoria. So anyway, but before we start, coaches in the Eastern Footy League, it's through the
Yep.
roof at the moment. I think there's probably about 11 coaching vacancies. One's come out. We won't touch on about that, but
Yes, we will. Let's read them out for the fans. Some people
yeah.
might know.
So I think Berwick and South Croydon and Park Orchards are
Yep.
available for Premier. I think they're the three sides. Div 1 is Croydon, South Belgrave.
No, 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 no.
Oh, well, it just got announced today that Heath Black, your former coach, will be coaching South Belgrave next year, which actually got confirmed today.
Yep.
Div 2 is Templestowe, East Burwood. I think they're the two coaches there in second division. None in third division. I can't see on my notes here. And Division 4, I think it's just Forest Hill. So there you go. So a lot of coaching movement going around, which is, just not a fan of it. Just with the restructuring of the league and especially in like 1, 2, 3 at the moment because there's no promotion, and you kind of want to keep that same coach because then they can move you up to, if you're good enough to, first division or something like that. So
Just a couple of quick ones from me, Blakey.
yeah,
News out of Wanturna South, their coach has quit. Apparently signed a deal to coach on next year on Thursday night and then quit Saturday night. So not too sure what's going down there at your beloved Wanty South, Blakey. And fans, just keep your eyes open, eyes out for a bit of news around South Belgrave to come out in the public in a couple of weeks, I reckon. A couple of key departures. So
there's a big bombshell that's going to brew around the Eastern Footy League when this player signs on. We're not going to reveal any details because we don't know if it's true or not, but we'll see how we go.
from my sources, mate, it's a done deal. So
Tom Brown.
Tom Brown, breaking news. Brian.
Anyway, so let's get into the games. Of course, down at Ball and Vizzy Park. Jeez, I love saying that.
What's the deck down there like, Blakey? I've never been there. Is it all right or not?
Well, maybe if you get a premiere, you might see how good it is. But
Hey, come on, I'm asking you a fucking question. No need to be a smart ass.
No, it's actually a nice little ground. It's very small. Which suits Bourne, of course, through the years, probably the decade, really.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't mind Bourne's ground. It's no mud. Guess that's all you ask for. But believe it or not, they had a 6 goal lead at quarter time, and they only won by 19 points. So I don't know about Bourne. I think it's just going to be on their day. It can't be on that. So I think that's how I see it with Bourne. Anyway, they got the Chockies 12-9-81, defeated Dongy East 9-8-62. Believe it or not, they had 9 changes. 9 changes.
Who?
This
Donny
week.
East?
Yeah, Donny East. So
Jesus.
you don't want that heading into a crunch time game. Vermont do what Vermont have been doing all year. They defeated Park Orchards. Blackburn defeated South Croydon. Pretty average year for South Croydon this year. Norwood smashed Doncaster, which is expected, so they'll be going down to first division next year. So to be obvious there. Roval defeated Naval Park in the grand final rematch at Seaback Oval. And the big one, Trent Farmer. 10 goals. 10 goals
Huge.
for Trent Farmer. He could actually take home the Premier Goal Kicking Award, Div 1 last year. I think it was. Did he kick the? Was it or was it?
I
I
thought it
can't
was.
remember.
I thought it was Parenti, but
Yeah, Parenti got it
Yeah,
last year.
he was close. He was close.
he
But I
was
don't know.
second or third. Yeah.
I don't know
Farmers
if
up
they.
by 3 currently.
Yeah, I don't know if it was.
He's what?
Farmers up by 3 goals right now on
Yeah.
Kalkovsky.
Yeah. So it'll be remarkable if he can do that because he used to tear sides apart in the second division, which is pretty good. And of course, he teared a few sides up last year, especially in that grand final. We won't talk about that. But South Belgrade, big winners over Lilydale. Lilydale forgot to know where South Belgrave ground is. Believe it or not, they ended up at Belgrave's Oval instead of South Belgrave.
Is that true? Is it?
True.
Yeah, it's true. Apparently, it's
Fucking
true.
hell.
Um,
To be
I,
fair, it does take you to Belgrave's ground when you plug it into the maps.
yeah, I've never been up there, so I wouldn't tell you that.
Fake
Montrose
fan.
defeated Croydon. Good come from behind win there. Beaconsfield beat North Freeman. I think the two big ones right here. Bayswater won by 85 points over Winturna South. So a bit of a fallout there. And the Morning Mustangs got home after a 3-8 quarter time score. So
Mm.
imagine if they would have kicked straight the Mustangs, they would have won by a lot more than what they did on the weekend. So
Probably missed
good
out on a
win
couple of really gettable goals, didn't we, in that first quarter, H?
Yeah, early on we missed a couple. We probably should have kicked most days.
Thought they might have
there.
come back to bite us in the arse, but it was a good effort by the lads to
It's always good to win
soldier on.
over at Walker Park. So it's always
Shit,
good to win.
shit ground.
Nah, but it's the MCG of the East, though. So
They fucking played the Richmond theme song when they run out, so
that's always good. Did they play the Moorback song?
yeah, they did. But then they
Oh,
cut it off to do some other song. I can't remember.
yeah. Did
I
they
think they
play like?
played. I think they played Geronimo by the Shepherds.
Uh, I hope they played. What you call? I hope they played. That's not the thing about. That's not the thing about football. That song. I hope they played that because I like that going down. Mitchum. Moving on.
Do Montrose still play their song when they run out?
They do. You'll be hearing it on Sunday, and we've got our pre-game pump-up song that we've been doing for the last year or so now. So you guys will be hearing that, which is a great song, and I love what they do down there. I'm looking forward to going down there. So anyway,
Fucking
moving
shit.
on, second division, Waverley Blues did what they had to do against the Basin. Ringwood, big winners over Eastfield. Unfortunately, the Rams will not be playing finals now because Mulgrave defeated Heathmont, who Mulgrave will be now taking up that fifth spot. Templestowe did what they had to do against Knox, and Baronia just keep doing what Baronia have been doing all year, 187 to 15. So a bit of stuff going on down there at Upper Gully, but I reckon they'll be up and about in third division next year. Um, Speaking of third division, Coltrane, big winners over Whitehorse. They're safe now, so Coltrane won't be doing the drop down to fourth division. It'll be the opposition team with Whitehorse. Fair Park defeated Oakley District. I think that's the big one, really, for that because if Fair Park win and Oakley lose, Fair Park are in the four there, so interesting there.
Mm.
Donvale defeated Ferntree Gully in the top of the ladder clash, and Sylvan got home against Warrandytes. And then we moved to Div 4. Nothing really major in Div 4, but the big one was Churnside Park defeating Surrey Park, which was Battle of the Parks there, and the Panthers. Can you imagine that? Both sides are parking it, and both sides are the Panthers. So interesting there. Kilsyth defeated Nunna Warning, and for the first time in about 71 years, Kilsyth will be minor premiers in Division 4. So big win there for the Cougars. Hopefully they can go on and get their flag, which they haven't won since 1998, believe it or not there. So big droughts for Kilsyth this year to finally cap them off, and Scoresby defeated Forest Hill to officially end their season. So that is your footy news for the Eastern Football League, the local footy thing there.
Love that.
Any scores that caught your eye from the local footy, the Eastern Footy League, boys?
Not in the Eastern Footy League, but I saw Jemana suffered their first loss in the Mornington Peninsula League. So,
Yeah, that's Jake Art's team, isn't it?
yeah,
Jakey
it
Art?
is. Yeah, Jakey Arts. So,
Yeah.
no, not too much from local footy for me.
Harry, got any caught your eye, mate, that from the league or?
Nah, nothing really. Just Montrose had a good come from behind win from what I saw, mate. Struggled early on, did ya?
We did struggle, but that's okay. It's okay. All that matters is
The
that
ending.
you get the job done. Which
I've
you
got
need to,
I've got one thing to add. One of our listeners, John O'Fraser, played in our resis on the weekend for the third time, I think, and he kicked our only goal. So it was a great crumbing goal. So well done to Jono.
Jono Taylor.
Good on you,
What a
mate.
man.
Jono
Sorry, mate.
Fraser,
Jono
not
Fraser.
Taylor.
Sorry, mate.
That's
You
right.
won't-
Well done to him. Basketball, I've been told. So, yeah.
Yeah, basketball. Yep.
Basketball background, question mark, question mark.
a bit of don't worry about that.
So now we move each other now to NBL news, and the
Woohoo.
Boomers squad just got announced, a 15-man side. So I reckon we'll touch on with the Boomers first, and then we'll go through some NBL. So in the Boomers extended squad, so the 15-man squad is Xavier Cooks, Dyson Daniels, Matthew Dellavedova, Dante Exum, Josh Giddy, Christopher Golding, Josh Green, Joe Ingles, Nick Kay, Jock Landell, Will McDowell White, Paddy Thrills or Paddy Mills, Dewup Riff, I think that's his name. Matisse Seibel, looking forward to those vlogs, Matisse. So keep them coming during the World Cup. And our man, well, my man, Jack White, is also in that squad. Now, the boys, the question I want to ask you is who will come out of that side? Because they'll do it, it'll be a 12-man side. They'll be going to Japan, Indonesia, and the Philippines. Who do you see coming out of that 15-man side?
It's a tough choice. There's some quality competition in there.
It is, yeah. But if you had to be a
Where'd you,
selector,
where'd you say it's been played at, Blake?
Japan, Indonesia, and the Philippines. That's what it says here.
When is it? Coming up, is it?
25th of August to the 10th of September.
Okay.
So I think you can watch that during the first week of the finals, or would you rather watch the AFLW? That's fine. You can choose what you want to choose there. But yeah, so who do you reckon, gents? If you had to get your selector hat on, who would you potentially have to get rid of?
Do you want me to go, Harry, or you?
You go first.
It's tough, Blake. I'm just looking at the squad now. It's a really good list, but I think for me the three that would go out. One would be Chris Golding. I think he's probably just a little bit past it in regards to playing for the Boomers, especially with the blokes around him, as well as Jupe Riath. I haven't really heard much about him. I think he was at the 2020 Olympics, was he? As a bench player,
he
maybe?
signed at the Perth Wildcats this year, I think. So
Did he? Okay.
Yeah.
But I think he comes out, and then maybe Will McDowell White, obviously I think he's at the. Is he at Tassie or Breakers these days, Blake?
I think he's at Tassie.
Tassie, okay. No, sorry, I've got it here. New Zealand, he's playing for. So.
Oh, New Zealand. Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. What do you reckon, Harry?
The people I was looking at were pretty much the same ones as what Caden was looking at. I think you can't there's 3 or 4 there that you wouldn't touch at all. You've got probably Dyson Daniels, Xavier Cooks, Matisse Thybul, and Jack White. They're probably the 4 you can't touch at all.
No.
And Paddy Mills, obviously. So there's your 5.
Yeah.
And Giddy.
And Giddy, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I forgot about
Giddy
him.
up, boys. Giddy up.
So I feel like the 3 Caden said would probably be the ones I'd agree with, and you could maybe put Josh Green in there. He could probably be the one that you could be on the edge as well.
Yep.
What about Jack White, Blakey, your man that you spoke about? Is he injured still, or is he all right?
No, he's back, fully fit.
He's
fully
back,
fit
okay.
now.
Yeah, righto.
He'll definitely be playing in the World Cup team. It just shows as well our depth, how much it's changed probably 10 years ago when we weren't that great. And it really showed as well in the Olympics in Tokyo as well. So I think Australian basketball is back on the map now, which is great to see. And I hope to see years on year that we bring more gold back home to the land down under. So hopefully there. But keep your eyes on that. The Boomers, I think their first game is against Finland. So that kicks off then. But from the 25th to the 10th of September, that's when you'll see the World Cup in the basketball as well. You would always put in USA to win it. They're always up there. Spain are always up there.
Canada
Slovenia,
have got a fucking good team as well.
I think Salinia are always there because Luca Buddy drops about 60 points every time. So he'll be there. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see there. NBL news, big news coming out of the Melbourne United camp. They've signed Ian Clark, a former Golden State Warrior and NBA champion player. It's now his third club, of course, winning a title at the Kings in 2021 before moving to Adelaide. And now he'll be back playing in the sporting capital of Melbourne, which is a big get for United. A lot of smalls though, which it's a bit concerning considering you've got Shea Ely and Matthew Dellavedova, so it's going to be interesting there. I think that's probably the main one, I reckon. And when it gets closer and all of that, we'll do our season predictions in the closing date. So we'll see how we go there.
Majok just signed at Tassie.
So that'll probably
Jack
be
Jumpers as a nominated replacement player. So
that'll probably be his third side, I think. Majuk.
third side. Yep.
I think because he played at Melbourne, he played at Perth, and of course now the Jack Jumpers.
Yeah.
Hazard, do you want to go through the FIFA?
No, just quickly. Sorry,
Okay.
before I've
Yeah.
just remembered, I didn't tell you about this, Blake. But NBL 1, for those that don't know, it's pretty much the backup, the league below NBL, so they play different times. But I'm pretty sure it's their grand final series this weekend. In the men's, the Knox Raiders are taking on the Sandringham Sabres. There's a few NBL players in both squads. I think Mason Peatling's playing for Knox and
Ely for, I think, Sandy.
No, I think David Barlow is one of the players.
Yep.
And then I think in the girls, it's Waverley Falcons versus Bendigo. So there's a couple of WNBL players playing in that. So it's good to see some homegrown talent.
And if you speak about homegrown talent, the mighty Kilsoft Cobras VYC team are in the Big V finals. So that's going to be huge as well.
Taking on Andrew Gazer's Tigers, I think they are.
Is it that team though, or does he coach the NBL 1 side?
Oh, I'm not too sure. I think his son plays in the youth league side though.
Okay. Yeah.
But I'm not too sure whether Gazer's a coach or not.
Yeah. It's very well done there. We now move across to the FIFA Women's World Cup. Hazard, take it away, mate.
Yep, g'day, boys. So
welcome, mate.
No problem. Thought I'd just get back in. I've been eating me chips most of the time. Been a bit hungry tonight, so
that can't.
Thanks, mate. No problem. Just quickly, we are up 1-0 against Denmark.
Huge.
So we're about to be halftime, 44 minutes through, so that's big by us.
Yep.
A couple of upsets actually. So in the knockout stages, USA have they went down to Sweden. So number 1 team is out. As well as the number 2 team didn't actually make it through to those stages, so that's another big upset, I guess. England tonight booked their way through to the quarterfinals, beating Nigeria in penalties. That's about all the news for now. If we are to win today, though, we will verse either France or Morocco, depending on tomorrow's game at 9 p.m. If Morocco are to win that, they're the lowest. Well, so far they're already the lowest ranked team to make the knockout stage, and it's their first time ever. So I think there's 60 something in the world. So if they could knock off France, that'd be huge for us.
Yeah.
Could book our way into the semi-finals from then.
Did you say England just won as well?
Yeah, they won on penalties against Nigeria. But yeah.
So who's the highest ranked team still alive? Do we know or not?
I'm pretty sure it's us, I think, right now. Let me have a quick check.
Where are we ranked again?
11th.
11th, okay.
Actually, Sweden are third. So they're still in.
Yep.
They'd be the top one, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Sweden, then Brazil and Spain are still in.
Yep.
France is still in.
England 4.
Yeah.
Netherlands, are they still cracking or are they going?
Yeah, they're still cracking. They're still cracking.
There's still a couple of really good teams in there, though.
There is. And Colombia and Jamaica play tomorrow as well. So they're two outside ranked teams that still trying to fight to keep their hopes alive.
Yeah.
Sam Kerr playing?
No, she's not.
No,
She's on the
she's
bench
not.
still.
Yeah.
So
No, not playing at all.
not from what we know of, unless she's needed.
Yeah.
Jeez, they must be pretty confident then.
Yeah.
No, I think they're just trying to hopefully get through.
Speaking of soccer as well, boys, the EPL Premier League starts this weekend. Of course, kicks underway with Burnley taking on the champs of Manchester City. Kicks off at 5 o'clock in the morning, and then Arsenal follow that.
Do you know anything about that soccer, Blakey? Go for a team or anything?
I do go for a team.
Who you go for?
I go for the mighty Chelsea boys.
Oh, I go for Manchester United. So
Suey. I know his move.
yeah, he
Yeah,
has
his
moved,
move.
but it's still Suey.
Yeah, yeah. So that starts this Saturday. So it should be very interesting.
Yeah,
To
I don't
see.
give a fuck about it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Netball. Anyone of you want to touch on about the netball boys?
Yeah, I'll give it a crack. So the world, I think we touched on last week. It was the World Championship, World Netball World Cup. So Australia claimed their 12th Netball World Cup with a pretty convincing victory over England, 61-45. So, fantastic effort by the girls. Shut the fuck up, Harry.
What do I do?
So, Harry's sending me messages. Probably aren't quite appropriate. That's making me laugh. So, fuck you. But yeah, a good win by the girls. Not too sure if there's much more to add. I don't really know.
45-61. I think that was the score.
Yeah, 61-45. So
yeah, and it's
not,
always
not
good to beat the Poms, which is always good. So
yeah.
yeah.
Well, is it the Poms that are the best team apart from us? But
yeah, I think so.
I thought it was New Zealand, maybe.
Yeah, I think maybe. Yeah.
I'm not too sure
on
to
that
be
one.
honest.
But yeah.
Yeah, it goes us, then New Zealand, then England. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah.
Moving on now. Is it all right? You want to talk about the USC that just happened on the weekend?
I don't know much about it, but Harry,
Yeah,
you
I
probably
got
do.
no clue about it. I already know about the boxing that happened with Jake Paul and Nate Diaz. That's all I know about.
Yeah, what happened there, mate?
Not a lot really, honestly. They had a fight, and Jake Paul ended up winning by decision, from what I saw. Nate Diaz has played a bit of an interesting fight. Talking to the crowd a lot, turned his back on Jake Paul a few times.
Yeah.
But Nate Diaz did get rocked a few times by Jake Paul, so a lot of people still think it's all staged, which I find a bit interesting. But what do you boys think about it? We don't really know enough about it.
Not really.
Don't have any knowledge on it, so I can't comment.
Yeah, they think it's staged, but I just don't understand how you can possibly want to stage a boxing match and do it 6 or 7 times in a row now.
Yeah.
Just watch Charlie Curnow play. He could stage boxing after all he's flipping he does.
Just because you kick 6 goals against your mom.
Shut up, Blake. You don't like Harrison Petty because he kicked 6 against Richmond, so shut up.
Well, he's a nobody though, so I wouldn't really care. So
Where's Charlie?
Charlie's won the Coleman last year, so I think he's pretty noticeable, mate. Anything else? I think the Big Bash, there was a big one. Darcy Short signing on with the Strikers.
Yeah, massive.
I think that's a big one. And
Two short boys going to open the batting for the Strikers.
Yeah, I think they're going to be very short heading into the opening batter partnership there. So
that was shit.
Probably that was a bit of a dad joke, but that's okay.
Nico.
Just a quick one as well. The Australia have announced their World Cup side and their T20 side against South Africa or South Africa. So pretty interesting there. I'll find out the side. I've just got it on me in a second. I'm just getting up my research. Love notes on these shows that I do. So the World Cup side.
AKA Google.
It's not the World Cup side. Oops, sorry. It's the ODI squad against South Africa. Sorry about that. So Pat Cummins will be captaining that side with Sean Abbott, Ashton Agar, Alex Carey, Nathan Ellis, Cameron Green, Aaron Hardy, Josh Hazelwood, Travis Head, Josh Inglis, Mitchell Marsh, the Bison, Glenn Maxwell, Tavine Sanger. That's probably the big one. The young
Banger.
spinner. So he might have a Sanger when he gets the call up. Steve Smith, Mitchell Stark, Marcus Stornis, the great man David Warner, and the cheat Adam Zampa. And then Australia have also announced their T20 side for the Tour of South Africa. South Africa, Mitchell Marsh, the Boston, will be captaining that side with Sean Abbott, Jason Beredoff, Tim David, Nathan Ellis, Aaron Hardy, Travis Head, Josh Inglis, Spencer Johnson. That's a big one
Who
there.
the fuck's that?
He's from Brisbane, fast bowler there, pretty fast as well. Glenn Maxwell, Matt Short, Steve Smith. That's an interesting one. Marcus Stornis and Adam Zampa are the side there. Steve Smith, I don't know about that.
Still got it.
Yeah, I don't know on the T25. I remember that World Cup. I don't think he played. I don't think so. It'll be interesting to see with that. Couple big ins as well with Sanger. That's a big one, I reckon. Getting the call up there, so
No
pretty interesting.
minus Labuschagne in the ODI squad left out.
Yeah, I kind of get that though. I
Yeah.
don't think he's really up to one-day cricket.
If you got Smith, you don't need Labuschagne in there.
Yeah, so we got plenty more as well. Travis Head, that's an interesting one. I don't think his name was called, was it? So I thought he would.
Yeah, he's in there. He's in there.
I was
He
gonna say, you
was. Oh,
literally read
yes,
his
he is.
name out, Blakey.
Pardon?
You literally read his name out.
Yeah, it's all right.
Twice.
The old age, mate. Anyway, that's about it for the cricket news. I know it's always popping up. Anyway, now let's get into the three segments. Let's start it off with Dossa's Multi.
Thanks, Blakey. I'll quickly just touch on last week's multi. Unfortunately, we had a 4 tick and a 1 crosser, so a bit unfortunate. I thought I won, but Brazil drew with Jamaica in the World Cup, so that was a cross. New Zealand Warriors beat Gold Coast. Geelong beat Port Adelaide. Jake Paul won the boxing, and then the Canberra Raiders beat the West Tigers. And my hot tip from last week got up, so it's a good one. And then my multi for this week, we're going to go with Brisbane Broncos to defeat Parramatta Eels in the NRL at $1.31. Spain to beat Netherlands in the FIFA Women's World Cup at $1.85. Arsenal to defeat is it Northern Forest or someone?
I think so, yeah.
Never heard of that team. So $1.22. Brisbane Lions to defeat Adelaide Crows in the AFL at $1.32. And Josh Feem will knock out Jamie Pickett in the UFC, paying $1.33. So you put them 5 into a multi, it'll give you $5.72. So chuck some money on that and just remember, gamble responsibly.
Always a big one. And now we go to.
Oh, sorry, hang on. My hot tip for the week. I forgot about my hot tips. So I'm just going to come up with one on the spot. I reckon this bloke is going to reply to all the, not the hate, but he's out of form. He copped a bit of David King this week. I think Brody Myercheck will step up for Collingwood on Friday night, and I reckon he's going to kick 3 or more. So chuck some money on Checkers to kick a couple.
Checkers. Anyway, my Ruffy.
Here we go. Everyone's been waiting for this, mate. All the fans love it.
Oh, can I
Are
say
are you a fortune teller? Are you a fortune teller?
I don't know, mate. I don't predict these things, mate. I just
Well, you have because you've predicted 2 roughies in the last 2 weeks.
And they were big ones too. Like I think Freo was probably the biggest one. They were paying at $9.
Nah, Hawthorn to beat Collingwood was bigger, I reckon.
Oh, it's never hard to travel over the alphabetical order stadium, GMHBA. But Yeah, I think it's a hard one, but this week
Here we go. Give it to us.
it's a hard one. But judging on the way Hawthorn played Tassie, I'm going to go the Hawks here. I reckon that's going to be my roughie this week. I know it's a short one, but I can't really find many big ones. I've seen it all around the leagues and all that, but I reckon Hawthorn will beat the Doggies, believe it or not. In Tassie, it's their fortress, and I think they can get back-to-back wins. So,
Don't mind that.
and this is a new segment that it was self-proclaimed, but I did ask the panelists if it's all good. Overreaction. So what will happen here is I will say something from what I saw on the weekend, and the two panelists, in Caden and Harry, will decide if it's overreaction or a reaction. Alrighty, boys. So I've got two for this week. In this, there was a thing on the AFL during this week. Brad Scott said that is the season too long with 24 rounds? Is that an overreaction or a reaction?
I'd probably say I'm just gonna go reaction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna say reaction as well. I don't think you played one extra game compared to what you did the last few years. Does it really affect
wait,
your players?
yeah, we're saying overreaction. Then we've gone the wrong way.
Have we? Oh yeah, well then he's overreacting.
Yeah.
Because the thing why he's having a sook about it is because it's come out that Essendon absolutely smashed their plays in the preseason and they're always going to fall away at the back end of the year. So that just comes down to being a stupid cunt. So fuck off, Brad Scott.
So overreaction there. Have GWS, with their loss against Sydney, do you still think they can make finals?
Yeah, I think they can still make finals, but I don't know whether that's a reaction or overreaction.
Yeah, I'm with Caden. I reckon they still can.
Okay.
I think
last
people
one.
people coming out and saying that they can't make it is an overreaction because what they've won, I think they've won. Was it what did they win before that game? Seven in a row. Like
they're in the 8.
Yeah, exactly. They're a game in the 8. So,
Yeah.
and I'm not too sure their run home's a little bit difficult, but
Yeah.
I mean,
with Carlton's form at the moment, will they be in the grand final? Is that an overreaction or a reaction?
overreaction.
So you don't think they're good enough to be the competition's best?
I mean, I think they are, but I just can't see them playing 4 good games of footy or 3 good games of footy to get them in there. I can't see them doing so.
I'm not sure if you remember, but in the first episode, I said that Carlton will fall away with Harry Mackay out of the side. And they've done the opposite. So Harry Mackay coming back into the side might fuck them because then suddenly Curno's not getting as much space and as much delivery as he was.
Yeah, but he kicked one goal, but I know he was held back by Wilkie, who's having a terrific season for St Kilda. But yeah, he just got found out a bit there, Charlie. Anyway, Harry, what caught your eye, mate, this weekend?
What caught my eye was something that none of you boys probably would have seen, but Simone Biles made her appearance back in the gymnastics area after 730 odd days out since the Tokyo Olympics. So that's what caught my eye. It's good to see her back in probably hopefully at her best again. She's seen to be already at the age of 24, 25, been the best gymnast ever. So it's good to see her back and running.
Bit of fucking context behind that, mate. Like, why was she? What happened to her? What did she fucking break a leg or what?
No, mental health reasons.
Okay, righto.
It was back in the Tokyo Olympics 2 years ago. So
where's she from?
America.
Okay. Was she the one that got done cheating, or?
I don't think so, but midway through the Olympics, she pulled out.
Right.
So
pressure got to her, did it?
Not really. She's been in the Olympics 2 or 3 times before that. So I think it just everything catches up when you're the best in the world.
Fair.
Alrighty, so that wraps up our 3 segments there, our favourite segments of the show. Let's now move on to socials. Of course, we do have an Instagram page, and I went on there the other day, and we just have no content coming through for the Instagram with people not commenting on our posts, not sending us DMs. Whatever happens, everyone who listens to this, please DM us. I'm always available to have a chat with people about the weekend in sport. Are we doing a good job? Is Caden talking smack, or is Harry just muting his mic and he needs to be talking a bit more? Don't know what's going on there, but let us know, boys and girls, as well. Let us know what you do, because your feedback is more important, and we will shout you out on this show if you do
Give us some fucked up stories if you got one from sporting events or something.
Yeah,
Read it out.
we can. Anything, bring them out. Bring them
Anything.
out, because then we can expose them on the show. So
Yeah.
listen up to that. Alrighty.
Do you want me to read out where to find us, Blakey, or
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Okay, so if you want to email us, it's at alltalkwithbthkdossa@gmail.com. You can hit us up on Instagram, as Blakey said, at allsportpodcast__. And as we said last week, we do have a new Twitter account, but it's called X now. So if you want to find us on X, it's at allsportsbthkcm. So send us your DMs and we'll reply, as we said. So
there you go. So, alrighty. I think that wraps us up for the 4th episode. So we're a month in now, boys. You wouldn't believe it. We're a month in at the moment now. So this is good. It's going well. I hope everyone at home is listening in, or driving to school, or doing whatever the hell you want, or if you're just having a wake and you want to listen to what
fucking
we
come on.
You
can't be saying that.
We don't know what you do with your podcasts.
Pardon?
We don't need to know what you do with your podcasts.
Oh, come on, mate. I don't do that, but just saying, or something like that. So, anyway, but Harry and Caden, good to have another chat, mate. Talking all things sport. It'll be good. Bring on this week. Montrose Mirrabah, traditional rivals.
Yeah,
Can't wait, mate.
We'll
see you.
some photos of us all together to put on the socials.
Yeah, great idea. A few
I reckon
beers.
we will too. I reckon we should get both coaches in there too, potentially. Make it happen.
Yeah.
Norm Smith medalist. Oh, can't speak.
And who's the Mirrabah coach? What is he? Oh, sorry.
Brett
Sorry,
Lavers,
Brett.
Papa. So good on you, better.
I love Brett. Good. We've had some very good conversations, and he's a good fella. So looking forward to having a beer with him after the game. All righty, so that wraps up.
Just one thing.
One thing.
Every episode we do means one step closer to the spring carnival. So bring it on.
What do we say, Caden?
Whip the cunt, J-Mac.
Giddy up. All
there you guys.
All right,
have a good
fins
one.
up, baby. Fins up.
Fins up.
Fins up. Choo-hoo.